You're listening to the Hawgs Sports Network Daily Podcast. Now, here's your host, Matt Jones.
On Wednesday, Arkansas football coach Sam Pittman stopped by the Hawgs Illustrated Sports Club to talk about his 2024 Razorbacks. Always a great time. We have Coach Pittman at the sports club, third consecutive year that he's done this. On today's podcast, we're going to play the Q&A between myself and Coach Pittman, and it begins with me asking him about John Calipari being at his football practice earlier this week.
Thanks for being here, Sam.
How you doing?
Good. Hey, before we get started, I wanted to recognize somebody. Coach Harold Horton is in the back
Is
here, one of
Harold
the
in
great Razorback football coaches of all time. Coach, we appreciate you being here. Hey, speaking of coaches, I saw John Calipari was at your practice the other day. What's that been like, getting to know him?
Well, he's been really busy, recruiting and all that, and so we've been busy. But we did go on a SEC head coaches, we went to the SEC head coaches meeting together, and he was on the plane and had a great time visiting with him there. Really nice guy, good, great that he was able to come out to practice, and he's a big, he's all Hog, he he's all Arkansas and wants to help any of our programs as much as he can. So it was really good to have him, and he had a buddy out there as well that came in from Philadelphia with him, and really good to have him out to practice.
I saw pictures of him throwing a football. I didn't see video.
I
did
don't
see him
know.
throw a
I think
baseball.
he's got plenty of money. I don't think he's got to be a scholarship guy. We may ask him to walk home.
I took my son to his father-son camp back in June, and the first thing he told the dads, he said, "Guys, I'm not offering you any scholarships. Don't overdo it." And he also said, "Advil is your friend." So those were
It's
the
been
two main
mine
takeaways.
right now. My hip's killing me.
You said in Little Rock the other day you think you've got a good team. Why?
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think we have any deficiencies. I mean, if you look at it, and we've got good kickers, good holders, we've got good team speed. If you look at each position, we're not trying to hide anybody. I think we can play multiple defenses. I think we can play man, zone, two trap, country cover three. I think we can get after the quarterback with a four-man rush. Offensively, we've got a lot of speed. I think we handled some issues we might have had on the edge, on the O-line. We're a much bigger team, much stronger team. We've got a quarterback I like. I've got the 5 running backs we like, tight end. We got to keep Luke healthy, but wide receivers can make plays. It's easy, and then to be honest with you, I just like getting up in front of them. They're a good group of men, and just really excited. But the reason is because I just feel like we've got a really good team with really good leadership about it.
I thought one of the great quotes that you had down at the SEC Media Days in Dallas a few weeks back, you said if we can turn 4-20 into 9-4, we can turn 4-8 into something positive. What needs to happen this year to have that kind of bounce back?
Well, we need to start fast. I mean, that's part of it. My biggest concern is if we lose a game, can we flush it? And a lot of that has to do with staying away from social media, staying away from the negative talk. Because if we lose a game, it's coming, and we can't let that affect our football team. We've talked about that a lot, but I think we have to have a fast start, which I think we will. And that doesn't mean we have to win every game in the first 4 or 5 games. That doesn't mean that, but we have to be playing well. We have to be tuned up, playing well, because our first test is going to be when something doesn't go our way and how we handle it. But we've talked about that quite a bit. There's a fine line how you address that, because you're addressing failure at times, and you don't want to do that. But I think we'll bounce back if anything, if and when we need to. And I just really like the toughness of our team, the mentality part of our football team. So we'll wait and see. But I'm really excited about this group. I'm excited about our coaches too.
You talked about hiring Bobby Petrino. Obviously, you go out in the offseason, whether it be him, your assistant coaches, your personnel, you think you fix things on offense. Were there other areas, though, last year, like less obvious, maybe things that only a head coach would see, that as you evaluated the season, you tried to fix this spring and offseason?
I think each and every year, now that name, image, and likeness is in, I think anytime you're running a business, now this is still a people business, but it's a business. Mm-hmm. And let's take this table right here of great-looking people, and you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of you, and I'm going to pay you $50. I'm paying you $150,000. I'm paying you $20,000. I'm paying you $50,000. And then I'm going to let all y'all get in the same room for 8 hours a day, and y'all just have a great time. Times that by 15. That's what I got. So if you said it, you said in here, and it's all about the culture. And because I remember this, Butch Davis, and that's the biggest fear, that's the biggest problem, is handling. Used to, they had a scholarship and cost of attendance. And listen, I'm all for NIL. I'm not all for NIL the way that it is right now, but I'm all for kids getting opportunity. They're the ones out. Hell, I ain't going out there. They're and I get paid. They're the ones that are earning the salary out there. I get that. I think revenue sharing will make it better. But this, and then we're going out. We've got people here that we're killing trying to get NIL money and all that kind of stuff. We have to have some way to get regulated revenue. But the bottom line is, Butch Davis, I remember I got the first day on the job at North Carolina, and Butch sat down, and I thought he was going to sit at that end of the table, so I sat at this end of the table, and he sat at this. I sat right by him. I'm going, damn. And, I mean, you want to be on the other end, you know what I mean, in case you, oh, yes, sir, you get away with it. And he said, first day, he said, if any of y'all or your wife talks about your salary to anybody, I'm going to fire you. That was the first thing when he sat down and talked to us. And excuse me, as you realize, now everything's publicized, but back then it wasn't. Some kind of rule had to change or something, I guess, where you guys know damn near everything about us and willing to print it. And go Hogs. And but back then they didn't. And so he knew that in grown man world, grown woman world, he knew that if the salaries got out, it would be separation of his staff. Well, imagine you got 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old kids. That's the biggest thing of trying to keep it in tight. And I have no idea what your original question was. So, but I just answered something that went off in my head.
I'm glad you did.
Hope you're enjoying our Q&A with Arkansas football coach Sam Pittman. We'll have more in just a moment, but first a word from our sponsors.
LPGA Week in Northwest Arkansas returns September 23rd through the 29th for the 18th consecutive year. Watch former Razorbacks and 2024 Olympians Maria Fassi and Gabby Lopez compete against the world's best female golfers at the Walmart Northwest Arkansas Championship, presented by P&G at Pinnacle Country Club in Rogers. The NWA Championship is so much more than a golf tournament, with something for everyone to enjoy and activities for fans of all ages. Daily tickets are only $10, and kids 17 and under get in free with a ticketed adult. Get your tickets today at NWAChampionship.com. At Kindle King, we're proud of over 4 decades of design. We're continuing the legacy of great creative design by combining our brands of Kindle King, Soapbox, and Shopcart. Together, these brands represent a new focus in marketing design with individual attention to specific areas. Through our design expertise supported by a team of talented professionals, we showcase our best. We are Kindle King, we are Soapbox, we are Shopcart, we are Design.
Petrino, we know he's got.
We talked about, was that about
Well, that
Bobby?
wasn't the question.
I answered nothing about
No,
him.
no, no, no.
Oh.
We'll talk about Bobby now. We know what kind of offensive mind he has.
Yeah.
What do you hope's your offensive identity this year?
Physicality. I mean, Bobby and I are on the same page there. It's hard to be physical if you don't have the guys to be physical. And we think that we went out and got that fixed. But physicality, Bobby, as y'all know, he's going to throw the ball deep. He loves to play action. But it all starts with how physical can we be up front? Can we turn around and run the football? Which we weren't able to do a year ago, which the years before that, we were able to do pretty well. So we got to get back to being able to run the football first, and then his offense can be lights out at that point. But we have to establish a physical running game. And with that has to do with everybody on the field, not just the offensive line. They have to certainly do their part, but it goes with breaking tackles. It goes with mentality of blocking outside. There's a lot of things goes on. Can your quarterback help you in that running game? So, but that's what I think you'll see.
You mentioned a couple of these players earlier, but Bobby was talking the other day about Taylor Green and Fernando Carmona, and he said that they were leaders from day one.
Yeah.
I wonder, what do you think it says about them, number one, that they come into a new situation and they have that about them, but then number two, that their new teammates accept that leadership?
Well, they came in, they didn't say a word for about, I remember we had a situation about 10 days in, and I had told those new guys, I said, hey, man, this ain't a mouth respect. We ain't trying to do all that. This is a show respect. And so y'all need to shut your mouth and go to work. You can gain respect that way. And so I remember Taylor calling me about 10 days in, and there was a situation at walkthroughs or a situation in the weight room, and he said, Coach, when do you want me to say something? And I said, hey, you feel like you got the respect of the kids? He said, yeah. And I said, today. And Carmona was the same way. We had a little issue of basically you had to put your hand behind the line, and when the whistle blows, you run. Evidently, that was hard that day. And is a beast. And Carmona there's the bigs and the middles and then the skill. Middle skill, big skill. And Carmona went back with the skill positions and ran the sprints with them. I mean, he just went back there and he knew if he did, he had to make the time. And he did. And that showed to me and his teammates the leadership ability, like, hey, we have, there's a problem and then there's another problem, or there's a problem and then there's the fixer. And guess what? Ain't no problem. So the more guys that there's a problem and they become fixers, the better off your football team's going to be. The better off, in all honesty, your business is going to be. So those two just stick out. We have several, but those two are the ones you ask about and do a really good job with our football team. Listen, we're not in the locker room with them. We're not in the players' lounge. We don't eat with them at night. It's their football team. They have to police their own football team. And when that doesn't happen, and a lot of it happens from NIL, separation, when that doesn't happen, you can start going downhill pretty fast. And that's our job to try to get it back the other direction. But if it never starts going downhill because of the kids on the team, you're probably going to have a pretty good ball club.
I wanted to ask you about your offensive line. You've had a couple of notable injuries this preseason. Kudus has missed some time. Tykees Crawford's been out. How's your depth offensive line as you get ready for this first game?
I like it because of the emergency of Marion Harris. He's really played well. I mean, really well. Kudus, I think we'll have him back hopefully by Saturday, this Saturday. practicing. But you really need 8 guys. You need a backup center, a backup guard, and a backup tackle. You'd like to have 10. You'd like to have 20. But even on some of the lines that I had, hell, when I was here at Arkansas last time, we did have the best. I thought we had the best line in college football. We only won 8 games, so they didn't win the Joe Moore Award, because you guys know that's a little bit of politics involved in there. But I thought they were the best, and we had 8. And I think we have 8 when we're healthy. I think we'll have 8 that we can win ball games with, and I'm really excited about that. Eric Mateus has came in and done a wonderful job with the offensive line. I mean, really good. I'm his GA, and oldest one in America, I think. Hell, I might be the oldest coach in America. I don't know. But I am the oldest GA in America, and loving every second of it.
On the offensive line, something I think is kind of fascinating is that you guys go through scenarios to where, say, if your left guard goes down, you might have your center slide over to left, but you have scenarios that you know what's going to happen for any number of combinations of injuries or anything on the offensive line.
Yeah, what's amazing, so you're at Georgia. You weren't. I was. And that Saturday morning meeting is a beast. And Kirby's sitting down there, and he goes, okay, who's the backup left tackle? And you tell him, and he goes, okay, what if your left guard, your center, your right guard, and your right tackle go down? Give me the lineup. And, I mean, it's like right now. Who's the 5th center? Me? I mean, we're on the road. I only got 4. But what's ironic about that, everybody does that. And I'm glad you asked the question, because just last night we sat down as an offensive staff and said, okay, because it's not that you're going to do it on a Saturday. It's have you practiced it for them to have confidence in each other for a Saturday. And so we needed to do a little bit of moving around, not necessarily for this guy's going to start at this position. I call it combination period. In other words, let's say your worst nightmare happens. Your left tackle sneezes and has a nosebleed, and you got to get somebody else in there. It's not only is he prepared to play in there, so you have to practice that, but is the left guard comfortable and confident in this guy? Is the quarterback confident and comfortable with him? And you can't find that out until you practice it, and you certainly don't want it the first time to happen on a Saturday. So, yes.
Still more to come with Arkansas football coach Sam Pittman, but first another word from our sponsors.
Taste, sip, sample, and discover the very best restaurants and chefs Northwest Arkansas has to offer at the Bite Experience at the LPGA, a unique culinary experience on site at the Northwest Arkansas Championship. Tickets are available Friday, September 27th through Sunday, September 29th, offering access to the best golf viewing and food and beverage samples from over 30 local restaurants. You don't want to miss this. Tickets are available for $45 a day. Get yours before they sell out at BiteNWA.com. At Kindle King, we're proud of over 4 decades of design. We're continuing the legacy of great creative design by combining our brands of Kindle King, Soapbox, and Shopcart. Together, these brands represent a new focus in marketing design, with individual attention to specific areas. Through our design expertise supported by a team of talented professionals, we showcase our best. We are Kindle King, we are Soapbox, we are Shopcart, we are design.
Did you get the more physical camp that you wanted?
We did. I mean, we scrimmaged twice, and then we were live 2 other times. So we got the. I don't know how you tackle if you don't practice it. And we had the good team coming off 9-4, and I went, to be honest with you, I didn't tackle to the ground like I should have, which took a little bit of the physicality away from our team that year we won the Liberty Bowl. So we went back to the old school of what I knew coming in, and that's what we did.
You were talking about this earlier about all the different players that you have coming in, and it's not just freshmen anymore. It's a lot of older guys. I was talking to Dave Van Horn I think it was the year before. I think it was the year they went to the World Series last. He said he went into the locker room that summer and he looked at all of the lockers. I'm going to put a returner here. I'm going to put a new guy here, and really tried to, start kind of building some of that chemistry in the locker room. I wonder what are some of the things that you guys do to build that chemistry, because it's such an important piece to winning games.
Well, I mean, the kids go to houses. They go to their coaches' houses. They obviously spend a lot of time together in our place. Chemistry is about accountability, and so a lot of outside influences come in and talk to our kids. Motivation, some of them. Education, some of them. But our team, it's just like we used to go bowling or something like that. You know what I mean? But when I was a player, I would rather have a great practice and give me some ice cream and then I go home. Time's so valuable to these kids. And so a little bit of those things as far as that goes. I mean, we're going to go to the movies, but a little bit of that is if it's all going well, we try to value their time. Just like last Saturday, you thought I gave them all $1 million, and all I said was you don't have to come back for night meetings or night walk, and that was like gold, So building accountability, consistency, I think, is the best team building that you can do.
Which players took the biggest step from the spring to now?
June Kaj, a defensive end, Sori, a linebacker. Malachi Singleton has solidified that we feel like we've got a really good backup quarterback. Isaiah Sategna, that might be the top one. I mean, he really, really has improved himself. Defensively, Landon Jackson, as good as he was, he's a lot better than what he was. I mean, we have a hard time. Campbell, D-tackle. In the secondary, Jaden Johnson's had a really, really good camp, and count on him. And so those guys, and our two kickers. Our two kickers, that was a concern after spring ball that's left the building a little bit.
You mentioned Isaiah. What's the key for the lid to come off for him? Because it seems like there's so much potential in there that we just haven't seen the full.
Well, I think
yet.
Confidence, and he didn't have a chance when he first came in because I think he's local, and I think everybody thought he was going to go win the Heisman Trophy coming out of high school. So he had a lot of pressure on him, and we tried to take some of that off. Hey man, and he's gotten bigger, he's gotten thicker, and now I think he's showing the confidence that he had when he walked on the field at Fayetteville High School. You can ruin a guy if you play him too quick, and because he loses confidence. But I think he's right on schedule, and he every day he shows out.
There was some question in the spring about how deep you'd be at linebacker. When Marcus Woodson was talking the other day, he said he thought that was your deepest unit on defense. How did it get to that point?
I think we have every bit of 5, maybe 6 that can play that you'd like to see out there. That was just recruiting. That was T. Will and those guys went out there and did a nice job of getting guys that can play for us, and we didn't worry about who was leaving. We was more worried about who was coming in, and we did a nice job of that.
Special teams, you mentioned the kickers. How do your special teams look?
We have a team full of better athletes. So if you really look at where does that really help most in the 3 phases, it's special teams because you're bigger and you're faster. And so I like our cover units. And then most of the time you talk about special teams, and if you're any good, you have a special returner. You have a guy that's some lightning returner back there, which I think Sategna is. Braxton's a good one as well. And then punter-wise, Devin Bell's had a phenomenal camp. And then Sam Dubways is a nice punter behind him. And then the kicking battle, is still ongoing. But I think we're going to be good with either one of them guys.
You went to the Derby this year,
I
and
did.
a long shot winner that you were there to support won the Derby. Is that a good omen for things to come?
Well, it was good that day. I don't know, man. I hope so. Went to Little Rock Touchdown Club Monday. Probably should coach some football every now and then, you know. But I went to, and so you get on the plane, you know, and there wasn't any Wi-Fi. So what do? You either talk to Kyle, which I didn't want to do. So I started scrolling down my pictures, and I looked. I had a picture with the governor. I don't know why I said that. That's like, ooh. I had a picture, and it had a date on it. And I go, I remember that was at Little Touchdown Club. I go, oh, dang. I got the same dang tie on. So when I got up there, I said, oh, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that 4-8 deal. Oh, I'll tell you what you asked me. 4-20 to go to 9-4. Mm-hmm. Wait. There ain't nobody in this room thought in 2 years we'd be 9-4. And guess what? There may not be many that thinks that I'm not going to get fired or I'm this or I'm that. It don't really matter. If we work, we got a good team. We're out there working hard. And I'll tell you, I'm not worried about that 1 ounce. I'm worried about them kids in the building, these guys, the fans, and we can win now. And we're going to. That's why I was hired. And we had a bad year, but hell, if we'd won 11 last year, we couldn't live on that either. And so if we can take it from 4-20, we damn sure can take it from 4-8 to something good. And that's the plan. I did that.
Sam, we appreciate you being here.
Guys, I appreciate you, and thank you for your time.
All right.
Go Hawgs.
Thank you. Sam Pittman.
Our thanks to Arkansas football coach Sam Pittman for stopping by the Hawgs Illustrated Sports Club. Always a great time when we hear from the head hog. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. We'll be back with our normal podcast on Friday from our studios here in Fayetteville. Hope to see you then. We'll see you tomorrow.